week's project is Simplicity 9012. It's a Cynthia Rowley pattern, a cute pattern. I'm making it in a cotton gauze. Normally, when I'm sewing with cotton or a lot of fabrics, I pre-shrink it. I finish the raw edge and run it through the washer and dryer with towels or something, because that's how I'm going to wash it when I'm done. This cotton gauze I will not be doing that with. I'm going to hand wash it cold and line dry it because it is a very loosely woven fabric. If I were to machine wash and dry this like I would, this shirt or something else, it would shrink a remarkable amount. So I'm not going to treat it that way. A couple other things about this pattern. I'm going to do this dress, but I'm going to use this sleeve from View B. So that's what I'm going to do. I am going to make the belt. I don't know if I'll wear it or not, but I plan on making it. This is, I would say, an intermediate level. All of the things are not difficult on their own. It's just there's a combination of processes to get to this look. It is definitely doable. We're going to just cut it out. It's a pretty basic, straightforward as far as cutting out goes. So I'm going to go ahead and lay out and get ready to cut. All right, I'm almost completely laid out. It's very straightforward. Because this fabric is 53 inches wide, everything fits great until I get to the sleeve ruffle. And you can see how wide it is. It's too wide to fit on the fabric when it's folded across grain. So I'm going to cut out everything else. I have plenty down here at the end to turn. After I get these things cut, I'm going to then open the fabric up and fold it lengthwise grain and cut my 2 sleeve ruffles. So I would have just enough fabric. It's working out perfectly, but the one thing that's going to be cut differently is the sleeve ruffle at the bottom, just because it's so wide. Okay, this is how it looks refolded. I've folded it a different grain line, and you can see right there, that's our selvage edge on top of itself, and that's my last piece to cut. We're all cut out and I'm ready to sew. This pattern, we're starting with the sleeve. I'm going to do French seams on this. It's a very loosely woven fabric, and because of how the sleeve is full at the bottom, you're going to see the underneath side a lot. So I want a very pretty finished edge for that. So I'm doing French seams throughout, so Y serger will not be out for this one. It also has rolled hems or tiny little hems all the way around the neck, the sleeve, the hem of the skirt. So we're just going to machine sew the whole thing. So I've set it up with my black sewing thread. I've pinned together my fabric, and for a French seam, you start with wrong sides together, which is not normally how we sew, but I'm doing wrong sides together and a 1/4 inch seam. The side seams and underarm seam, that sort of thing, are 5/8 inch. The hems are all 3/8 inch. So because of that, I'm doing a 1/4 inch seam with wrong sides together. Now this fabric doesn't really have a right or wrong, so I'm just being consistent as to which side I treat as the right or the wrong. So I'm just doing a straight stitch at a 1/4 inch. Now if you have a bulky fabric, after you sew this, you can actually trim out some of that excess seam allowance before you flip it around. I have a little short video, like 2 minutes, on how to do a French seam, so I'll put that in the iCard and in the description below, so you can, if you just want a refresher on the French seam and to see it up close, you can. So we're going to do our French seams on the sleeve seam under the arm real quick. So this is what it looks like right now. Then we flip it around, and now we have right sides together, and we sew a 3/8 inch seam, because a 1/4 inch and 3/8 inch makes 5/8 inch. And again, if this feels too bulky or if you got slightly wavy, you should go ahead and trim out a little bit of this, because you don't want, when you're done, you do not want any of this little bit peeking through on your seam, because it's going to be showing on the right side when you're done. So we can't have that. So I'm going to do that to both sleeves and to the flounce of the sleeve. I'm going to do my French seams, and then I'll come back and talk to you. Here, and it's going to be hard to see on this fabric, I'm aware of this is my French seam from the wrong side, the inside of the garment, and here it is on the right side. So on the right side, just looks like a seam. I love this fabric. Look, you can hardly tell there's a seam in there. And the wrong side, Again, you can hardly tell there's a seam in there. The interesting thing about this, the way this garment is done, is that I'm going to go ahead and do a tiny rolled hem on the bottom of this part of the sleeve because the flounce is actually gathered and applied on top. So you're doing lots of hemming on this. And this is supposed to have elastic in it, I'm pretty sure. Let me check that. It does have elastic in it. So I'm starting here on sleeve B. And so I'm going to make the casing next. I'm going to turn up and make a little casing for this. Now, because of the type of fabric, this is a nice, soft, easy to work with fabric. You could, if you wanted to, turn up your 5/8 of an inch and use a hem tape or something like that, if it would make it easier for you, depending on the weight and the type of fabric that you're using. But for me, I think that I can, because we're only using 1/4 inch seam allowance, or 1/4 inch elastic. So if I turn this up 5/8 and turn under a 1/4, that gives me a 3/8 inch casing for my elastic to go in. So that's the next step, and then I'm going to go ahead and start putting my flounce together. I have made the little casing on my sleeves. So here's the casing rolled up. There's my little hole to put my elastic in. Make sure you mark front and back, or somewhere so you can tell the front from the back. If you don't mark on most sleeves, when you fold it in half, the back's going to be just a tiny bit longer to help you out. Here's the flounce. I went ahead and did my basting line. It's 1.5 inches from the raw edge, so I basted first, no back stitching because I'm going to gather on that. And then I rolled up my little hem. This is just a rolled hem along the bottom, so I've done that. I'm ready to do the top. And then once I've done that, this is going to lay right on top of my sleeve. Pull my gathering stitches and top stitch it down. It doesn't gather a lot. It gathers some. A couple inches is all total for the whole sleeve. Where most of the gathering comes is when we put the elastic in, it'll gather even more. I wrote out on my little strip of paper here my elastic, so I don't have to go back and remeasure it. So it calls for, in the size I made, 12.5 inch piece of elastic. So I would measure your arm. This goes almost at the elbow. So measure your arm and make sure that's not going to be too tight or way too loose for you, and you can adjust the elastic as needed. The neck is 26 1/4, which seems really wide, but it probably won't be. But again, it's adjustable. We can pull that in if we need to. So we're going to go ahead and do the last little hem on the top of the flounce. Here's my flounce. So I'm going to hem the top like I did the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and roll hem that, and then we'll be ready to pin, and I'll show you how it applies to the sleeve next. Here's the sleeve with the flounce pinned on. It's a gentle gather. It's not super full at all. And I'm going to show you the wrong side real quick. So here you can see my casing. So from the inside, it's got a finished casing, and that's where the elastic will go once I top stitch this down. I laid the gathering line on top of I'll show you on this other sleeve. So here's the, I know it's black, you're not gonna be able to see it, but there's the gathering line. And I'm laying that on top of the top of my stitching line for my casing. And you just want to be above the casing. You don't want to stitch through your casing. We haven't put the elastic in yet. If you stitch through the casing, you won't be able to get your elastic in. So we want to make sure that when you're applying your flounce that you apply it above the casing line. And I'm pretty much laying them right on top of each other, so it'll just top stitch again in the same spot. So I'm ready to take this to the machine. I always start at the underarm where it can't be seen. And I'm going to remove my tray so that I have a free arm to sew this on. So I'm going to do that now. All right, so here's the sleeve before elastic. Cute, cute, cute. So I'm going to go ahead and do the other sleeve and put the elastic in, and then I'll show you the sleeve with elastic. And here's the sleeve with the elastic in, and that is cute. Yep, really like it. Alrighty, we're going to start on the dress, and it's very straightforward. It's a front and a back. And we're just going to do French seams on the side seam. So I'm going to get both sleeves finished and put do my French seams for the side seams, and then I will show you that, and I'll show you how I pin in the sleeves for the next part. This is going fast once you get the sleeves put together. Okay, we have the dress together, front and the back. There's our seam. So now it's time for sleeves. And I'm just going to match up my back notches of my sleeve. So here's my little notches to the back of my dress. Just a seam around, whoops. And that's it. So if you're serging, you would sew this and then serge the edge after I get these sleeves in. On the inside, that's the sleeve. So from the outside now, we have this great big opening. This is the neck, believe it or not. I'm going to hold it sleeve to sleeve so you can kind of see. Here's my cute sleeve. Here's the dress. This is just going to gather up like that. And that's it. Simple, simple, simple. So what I have to do now is finish this neck edge, do a rolled hem on it, do a rolled hem on the bottom hem. But before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and make the casing for the elastic on this. And the pattern calls for bias tape, but I'm going to use it's seam binding. It's just lace, like a fine lace. So I measured. I have navy. It's not quite black, and that's just because I'm using what I have. Trying not go to the store. When I was at the store, they were sold out of all of the things like this. So I knew I had a little bit at home, and that's what I'm going to use. So I'm going to measure. I measured my pattern. It was 2 3/8 inches from the raw edge. So I'm going to measure down 2 3/8 inches, and just sew this. It's just top stitched in all the way around at 2 3/8, top and bottom, to make a casing so that I can put my elastic in. And I just want to leave an opening to get the elastic in. So actually what I will do is start it on the back sleeve. So my opening is going to be at the back sleeve, and that's where I'm going to start and stop. So I'm going to go ahead and sew this in next to make my casing, do my hems top and bottom, and then put the elastic in, and my dress will be done. So on to casing. All right, this is what the seam tape looks like on the inside and where I started. So this is the back shoulder, and I just turned under the tape on each end so it's finished, and I can slide my elastic in. So this is the opening for the elastic. It's hard to see, which is just what I want. So now it's just hemming. I'm going to hem the neckline and the bottom, and we'll fish the elastic through. Okay, the dress is finished. It is super cute. I'll put it on in a minute. Nice stretchy neck, easy to put on. Cute sleeve, rolled hem. I did make a tie belt. I don't know if I'll wear it with it or not, but I did throw together the little tie belt. So fast and easy, really not that difficult of a pattern. I would say I wouldn't call it a beginner necessarily. All of the things that you do in it are beginner, but I would say the sleeve is it's not complicated, but it is a little confusing. This dress, I cut it out last night, and I put it together today, and this did take me most of the day. Like, I did take some breaks here and there, but I would say a good 5 to 6 hours total to work on this dress. So not everyone has that much time in a row to sit and work on a project. So this may be a 1-day project or a 2-day project. It just depends on you and your time. But I'm going to put this on in just a minute, take some pictures. I will say this is another one where the front and the back look identical, but they aren't. So this little ribbon is on the seam, the shoulder seam of this in the back. Because of how this is put together, you wouldn't want to put a tag up on this collar area. You could put one maybe in where the seam binding or the bias binding is if you want to put a tag in it. I like these sort of at the back shoulder. They're very unobtrusive and you just don't see them, but it helps when you go to put your garment on. So